Welcome back to our series, Knowing A to Z about Business Analysis. The topic that we are going to discuss in today's session is about the business analysis life cycle. By this point, hopefully, you have a better understanding of what business analysis is, who conducts business analysis, and the type of tools and trains that could be useful in being effective in conducting business analysis. Now let's take a closer look at the formal business analysis life cycle, the sequence of steps that you might be expected to take as a business analyst. First, we are going to look at assessing needs. Then, we are going to plan business analysis. After that, we will seek to elicit information, then develop requirements. Followed by that, we will want to monitor and control our requirements and then evaluate our solutions to see how successful they've been. When it comes to assessing needs, which will be the focus of the rest of this course, we want to assess the current environment and capabilities as it exists today. Then we want to define our desired environment and capabilities. This gets back to our idea of understanding the present and defining of the future. Then we need to focus on how to get there. In other words, identifying the differences or gaps between our current and desired states. Finally, we have to be able to develop a business case for action to take place. Some sort of a proposal to help us get from here to there and why that's worthwhile of the business to do. In the planned business analysis phase, we are going to analyze our stakeholders at a deeper level, have a better understanding of how this problem or opportunity might impact them presently, might in the future, or might if we take action, and whether that impact would be positive or negative. We need to assess the environmental factors in which our work takes place right now, and we might take any action towards change in the future. What are our competitors doing? What is the regulatory environment like? And what are the geospatial or time factors that might be influencing here as well? Is it possible for us to address the opportunity or issue or problem in time and at the right location for impact to be made? We have to develop a plan for our business analysis work to take place with the philosophy of measure twice and cut once. We want to make sure that all the work we do moving forward is effective, and by thinking things through now and better scoping out what is that we seek to accomplish and the techniques we'll use. Finally, we will also seek to define various work processes, how we'll go about the work of business analysis moving forward. The next step in this is eliciting information from stakeholders. We want to identify our objectives, what information we seek to learn and gather from different stakeholders we'll speak with. Then we should determine what elicitation techniques we are going to use. Are moderated focus groups the best method? One-on-one interviews? Simply a phone call or some emails? Or reading through a report of information that's already been documented? The correct answers will vary widely, not only based on the type of analysis we are doing, but also depending on the type of stakeholder and the type of information we are seeking to obtain. Finally, we should develop our questions and choose the formats we are going to use to ask them in order to maximize the amount of useful information we can gather. From this point, we'll use that information we have gathered, the needs assessment we have done, and planning work that we have already done at this point to develop our formal requirements. Here, we analyze the results of our elicitation, all of that information we gathered from speaking with others. We want to compare these findings to the needs that we assessed earlier on. Do these in fact match up and align with one another? We thought this was the issue or we thought this was the opportunity. Is that verified by the conversations that we've had with the others? Or do we need to go back and modify those assessed needs to take into account this new additional information? We should use models here to enhance our requirement details when possible. These might be computer simulations in some cases, but in many others, it can be as simple as developing process flows and other visualizations that can give us better idea of how business work is going to be accomplished. We will look at those in more detail later in this series. Then we need to specify and prioritize our requirements, providing any technical details that might be necessary in order to measure whether those requirements have been met. Then we need to ensure that our requirements align with our needs. This is important for us to circle back in time and again. But especially as we finish finalizing our requirements, we want to take a moment to go back and make sure that these requirements that we've created are in fact in line with the strategic and philosophical needs of the business. When it comes to monitoring and controlling our requirements, this might actually be accomplished after project work has already begun to take place. So we might see some intersection here between the planning and the analysis that might be accomplished by a business analyst early on and the active work to address a need that could take place later on down the road. Here we want to use requirement traceability methods to make certain that we have accountable stakeholders for each of the different requirements that need to be fulfilled. We should try to measure our requirements performance here as well to make sure that we are in fact addressing the need we sought out to address. We should continue to verify that our requirement match needs and the environment around us hasn't changed or that we haven't learned something new from the work we've done so far. That changes our perspective on the cost benefit of the work that we are doing or on whether, in fact, our end result will meet these needs. We should also manage any changes to requirements that need to be made based on these sort of findings that can really be discovered after work is underway. Finally, we need to evaluate our solutions once project work has been completed and new initiatives begin to be rolled to address our needs. Here we develop and select key performance indicators that we can look to and measurements to define whether or not we are being successful in addressing those underlying needs. We should ensure that the solutions that we come up match those requirements. So any ways that we can measure our end result matches up and fulfills those requirements can be valuable here. We need to also verify the solution again, meet those underlying strategic needs that led us to business analysis being conducted in the first place. We need to ensure that the solution meets the acceptance criteria that has been generated by different stakeholders. Who needs to sign off and how can we ensure the project results will meet their requirements and acceptance criteria might be. These are the questions that we need to answer at this point. Then we need to officially obtain sign off or release for work completed. Now, oftentimes, all of these steps, when it comes to monitoring, controlling, and evaluating solutions, we will intersect substantially with the work of the project manager. The next step we'll discuss in this series is about developing requirements.